Okay, so our bootstrap sign up form looks good, but it's still too big. So let's place this form under a div and define its class, so that it means make it look more good. Actually define its space, column space, colon G A and colon G offset 2 and let's close this div. Let's see. Okay, so now it's look perfect. Our registration form in Bootstrap is completely ready now. So we got our email, first name, last name and password. Click and submit button. Alright, now we need to add our main functionality. That when we click on the submit button, where should the process of the form take place. So let's add action to the form and method. Post, we are going to get data from post method. Okay, so in action element of the form, you can directly pass the action to the controller, like the index.php welcome register. Okay, so first in code igniter, if you haven't remembered the rewrite command from your server localhost, so you have to write index.php file in every action element of any form, or if you are redirecting to the page, so in front of that you have to write index.php file. After that /welcome your controller, then after that your controller function. So as we have seen in our welcome controller, we had this public function index, which is going to run every time if we don't specify any function. So first of all, let's we have given the action element to a form which is registered. Okay, directly. So let's write a public function name register. Alright, and let's output something. See here, echo hello user. Okay, let's see the output. Is this running? Let's see about. So as soon as we hit this submit button, our form is going to take all the information to the welcome controller, and this information is going to pass to the register function, public function register within a welcome controller. So within welcome controller, we have first echo the hello user output. So first let's see is our function is running. Yeah, so you can see as soon as I click on the submit button, it displays hello user. One thing which is you need to remember, guys, as in the action element of the form, I have type index.php welcome register, and this goes to the welcome controller. Then it displays the function which it needs to take the data to the controller. So as soon as I hit the submit button, it says hello user, which we have code in a controller public function register. But in URL you can see we have index.php welcome and register. So if we pass action element, we give index.php welcome register, we will get the same output, but in URL your complete information is going to get displayed as you can see, after index.php file we run the controller, and then after that it's going to run the public function register. So this is this will anyone who knows the CodeIgniter framework or anyone else who knows how the framework works, so it will display their controller and register function. So that's a bit of risky. So for that we have an option. Instead of writing the controller name, just write register user or anything, whatever it can be, register or user. Then go to routes folder, so config folder of your go to the config folder. From config folder open your routes file. In routes file, just you can specify the path here. You don't need to write that on the action element. All you have to do in routes, this associate array, you have to place a key which you have passed in a form element. Here you do here we are writing index.php slash register user, which is going to be our key for this array. But you don't need to write here index.php. So we are going to run take this information to the welcome controller. Okay, after welcome controller we are going to take this information to the register function, register method. Okay, so now if you see in action element of the form, I have just written index.php register user and method post, and in routes folder I have written routes register user, and I have stated that the action should be goes on to welcome / register. So from welcome controller it's going to get this the action of the form is going to get process on register method. So now let's check the output. So we have a registration form. As soon as I hit the submit button, it's going to say hello user. So our functionality is completely running, and in the URL you can see our controller name welcome isn't displayed. So this is important. So as we are going to learn the more functionality about the CodeIgniter, we have to make our website more secure. So now let's get this all the data in our controller, welcome controller. So in post, let's get this write a dollar like email variable $this input post, and here you have to write the name of the input element. So for email it's email, name of the input element is email, and the after email is the first name, is last name and password. So change this name to the last name, this to the password. Last name, password. Alright, so we have access, we have got the data through the post method in our register function, and name those as email, $email for email, and $first name for the first name element, and the $last name for the last name element, and $password for the password element. So this is let's check our data or not. Let's echo $email. Let's see, just do we get the email or not. Right, example kumar@gmail.com. Okay, alright. So functionality completely correct. So we all we need to do is get this data to a database where we need to create our database table. So I have already created a database named social web, and within the social web I have created a table named user, and the user table structure contains ID with auto increment and primary key, email, first name, last name and password. So within the database named social web we have a user table which is going to hold our data. This is the user going to input for the registration on our website. So all we need to do is we need to insert that data into our registration form. Okay, so let's write the query variable, and here $is $is social model, and a function register user, and will pass all the 4 parameters to this function: $email, $first name, last name, $password. Okay. So I will explain you this why I wrote this $query equals to $this social model register, and I have passed four variable to this function within a second. First of all, let me $this load model, and within that to write load this model. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here is trying to take this data, email, user and the password, to the social model. So if I want to access any functionality of social model, I have to first load this model. Okay, as I have told, to load the view we write $this load view and the name of the file. So similarly goes for the model. So let's go to the model folder of CodeIgniter. Okay, here we are going to create a new folder. Okay, let's create a PHP file. Okay, well, we don't need this HTML tags. Okay, we need this PHP. Okay, in this PHP we are going to do same functionality as that of the controller. All we have to do is save this file in model folder. Okay, before that let me remove this section, and so let's name this class as a register. Register model. Okay, within this register model, this extends If you want to use, then similarly as in the controller, we extend the CI controller, which contains the default functionality of the CI controller created by the code igniter. Similarly, in model, we have to extend our every file from the CI model, so we can use the functionality of code igniter. So let's save this file in our model folder of code igniter. Okay, htdocs code igniter applications and models. Here let's save this folder as a register user. Register model, or we can say save this as a register user. That's better. And we also name this function as register model, so it will be easy for us to access. So within register model, we have extended register user from CI model. The class name is register user. So now all we have to do in our welcome.php file, here $this load model, instead of social model, we have to write here the register underscore user. Register underscore user. And here what it says that before, as let's create one more function before we move to the next step. Let me explain you a little bit. So let's delete this. Okay, and public function register user. Alright, and similarly here we are also going to set and there's 4 variables. So here we are going to define these functions. Public function register user. Here we are going to define this function. Here we are going to write our query for database. Follow this db insert the first parameter insert use as a table of the data, name of the table in which we are going to enter the data. So name of our table is users, so let's enter the table name users. The second parameter are those parameters, the name and the value of the parameter which we want to insert within our table. So these are the parameters, variables holding the values which we want to insert into our database. So if you want to instead of writing every time the same query like this, okay, hold on. As I have told you, the second parameter is the name of the value and the data. So here we are going to pass an array. These 2 square brackets are the shortcut of writing an array. So first we are going to pass the name of the column in which we want to insert our email. So name of the column in our database for email is email, and for the first name is first name, for last name of the column for the last name is last name, and for password is password. So first let's enter the key email. So this is going to be an associate array with the key name of our column and the value of a variable holding the email address. Similarly, for the first name, dollar first name, last name, and password. Okay, so we have written our database query to insert our data into users table. Let's read. If this data is inserted into our table, $q is going to be true. So let's return $q. Okay, so let's go back to the welcome.php controller. Here you can see first I have loaded $this load model register user, similar as I explained in the previous videos. If you want to load model view, then you have to write this $this load view. These are the default functionality of CodeIgniter, which help us to directly access the files in the image structure, model, view, and controller. So here we are accessing register user model.php file, which is a model in our model folder. In welcome.php controller, we have loaded register model so that we can use this register user function of register user model, where we are going to write our insert database query. And if the database is inserted into the table, then it's going to hold $q is going to hold value as a true, and if the data isn't inserted into our database table, then it's going to hold a value false. So here we have said, as this whole query is going to be true or false, and this is going to be stored in variable named query. So let's write an if statement. The $query is true, then echo data inserted. Alright. Else echo fail. Okay, so let's check our functionality. Let's run our file. Okay, let's go back. Okay, right, it says as soon as I hit the refresh button, it says unexpected curly braces, closing curly braces or edge, where in welcome.php in line number 38. Okay, let's go back to the welcome.php. Here it says unexpected. Okay, here we didn't end our echo statement, and this in capital. Okay, so that's true. Now let's check. Okay, so first name is going to be email address, so let all @ okay, first name Kunal, last name Roy, password let's submit. Okay, so it says there is some problem in our register user.php. Okay, so we have passed, so register.php here. Okay, at password we need to give an arrow, and also the spelling of password is a bit wrong. Yes, password. Okay, fine. think there won't be any problem now. Let's check this. Hit refresh one more time, and we have and I guess we didn't change the load function name in welcome.csv. Okay, here. Alright, we are accessing register user not social more. So now it's going to run completely fine. So this error happens few times if you are not paying completely attention. And now we have, okay, so it's displaying again error because it says welcome $db in the file name core model.php77. So this is what I want to tell you guys, because as you have seen, we have loaded $this db. db is equals to database, and we haven't really connected our database, because as in the previous video I have told you, we have to connect our code igniter to our database. So let's go back to our config folder. Within our config folder in our database file, database.php file, here we have to first connect our database and name of the database. Okay, so our host name is localhost, username is root, password is empty, and our database name is social web. Alright, so first we need to connect. Let's check our database name. I guess that's right. Our database name is social web. Alright, okay, so now I want to use this function called $this db insert. This query I want to write in code igniter, but this query needs to get executed in our database, MySQL database. So use this functionality. We need to load database library in code igniter. So for that, what you can do is you can auto load directly the database library from config folder. Go to config folder and open auto load file. Here we have auto load libraries. Within libraries is an array. Write a name database so that we can use the functionality of database in our code igniter. Now if we hit refresh, it's going to insert. So data is inserted completely successfully, and I'm going to go through all this one more time to have a complete understanding. So the mistakes makes us understand what we were missing. So first of all, we have created a welcome.php file within which we have created our bootstrap form. In bootstrap, that's not at all necessary. We have just used a bootstrap form. So the main thing is our action element. So first we have passed an action element to register user, which is we have defined in our routes.php present in config folder, where we have defined in which controller, which function method should access get the data from that form. So from that welcome controller we have access register method. In register method we have get the data from a post. As we were using post element post method, so we have access the data $this input post. If we were accessing through get method, all you have to do is email $this input get and name of an input element like email. Yeah, that's it. So this is what how you can get an data from a get element in code igniter. So first of all, we got stored all those data in a variable name, email, first name, last name and username. After that we wanted this data to be inserted into our database. So I have first loaded the model, register model, in model where we write our database logic. So in register model, register underscore user model, I have created a public method named register user, which accepts 4 parameters holding email, first name, last name, and password. In this function, in this method, I have written insert query for database. So this the insert query, this is a shortcut for writing an insert query. You can write a complete database query as we write in our procedure. So if you want to insert a database data into a database, so you can write this shortcut instead of writing a complete MySQL query like this. Insert into first $reference MySQL query, database name, then insert into username, then name of the field, then its value. You can directly write that into CodeIgniter with a shortcut with $q equals to $this db insert, and this insert parameter accepts 2 parameters. First, name of the table, because we have already connected database and we have written our database name in our database.php file is present in our config folder. Here we have our database name, we have connected our database social web, and register user, where insert we have just written our table name in users. Here we have passed an array, associate array, which holds key name as the name of the column of our database, email, this email as the name of our database column name, email first, and its value what we want to insert in $email, which we got from our welcome controller registration form $email from post method. So this is how we insert data into our database through CodeIgniter. So as we have inserted database into our database, the data sent by the user. Okay, so as you can see here, we haven't given any condition. If someone didn't write email and first name, enter first name, last name, or password, and hit the submit button, it's going to still enter the data into database. So for that we are going to write some rules, and we'll set those rules in next video.